What's crackling, everybody? Welcome back once again to the definitive cereal tier list. For each episode, we take a cereal, put it on the tier list, so you know how good it is. I'm your host, Tucker. In this episode, we're doing Dulce de Leche Toast Crunch. This is, of course, the newest of the Toast Crunch cereals, with there already being 6 of them on the board, and those would be starting from the bottom. The Sugar Cookie Toast Crunch and the Cinnamon Toast Crunch Churros, both had an E. Not super into either of those. Move up to a D though, and we got Chocolate Toast Crunch, which was fine, but not great chocolate, and still had a lot of the same issues that I have with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch piece. You get up to a C, and that's where we have the original Cinnamon Toast Crunch, French Toast Crunch, and Chocolate Churro Toast Crunch. My favorite so far has been the French Toast Crunch. I think that's just been the most solid, all-around flavor, texture, all of it. So that's the pinnacle for me. I know a lot of people were very upset that original Cinnamon Toast Crunch got a C, but the piece just doesn't really work for me a lot of the time. And the chocolate churros somehow took 2 things that weren't great in Cinnamon Toast Crunch and made it more okay. So it just barely got in that C rank. But this one, it's a departure. There's no connection here. We don't have the chocolate or the churro connection. So it's a bit of a wild card, kind of like the Sugar Cookie Toast Crunch was. But I have faith this will be better than that. If nothing else, it sounds like it'll be good. So we can go in with some hope, I guess. But let's just try it out. See what it's like. Smells pretty good. Yeah, I don't know if it's exactly a caramel scent, but it's like that sort of sweetness that you expect from caramel. So, looking good there. Okay. I want to taste this too early. Get it back in the bowl. Piece-wise, looks pretty similar to Cinnamon Toast Crunch. A bit darker, I'd say, for a lot of the pieces. Not quite as like... Well, I guess on the box there's still some swirlies. Yeah, okay. The swirls aren't as distinct, I think, just because the piece is a bit darker, so it blends in a bit more. But yeah, your average Cinnamon Toast Crunch piece, which is a bit of a letdown, but we'll see if the taste can make up for it. All right. Okay. That's very sweet, but I'm into it. I like the first taste a bit more. At the end, I think I'm getting more cinnamon flavor, sort of overpowering the caramel stuff. So I liked that initial taste a bit more. But pretty solid starting taste for this. So we'll see how it progresses. This has happened a couple other times with cereals that have multiple flavors going on. But as you're eating it and you're just kind of consistently getting spoonfuls in, the cinnamon taste is becoming much more present the entire time versus that first bite where you kind of had stronger caramel, then cinnamon. Now it's pretty constantly cinnamon with just like bits of caramel in there. So it's not quite as good as I think that first bite was, but it's still being pretty solid for me in that taste department. We're pretty early on, so we're still getting some crunch in there. And we'll see if it sacrifices as bad as normal Cinnamon Toast Crunch does. But maybe these ones are thicker. Now let's see how the flavors mix in with the milk. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty solid, but you never know. Well, that's really good. Again, like the first bite I had, much stronger caramel flavor here than normal sort of bite you're going to get. But yeah, definitely into that. I'm a fan of this for sure. Yeah, no real complaints there. Good caramel, bit of cinnamon, pretty good time. This seemed like just another weird toast crunch variation, but I'm actually pretty glad they did this one. Taste wise, I think this is easily one of the best toast crunches that we've had. I think personally for me, it's better than just normal cinnamon toast crunch, and it competes a lot more with the French toast crunch, which is another one that's sort of a bit more different flavor from the others, because that was like sort of a maple flavor, and this one sort of a caramel flavor. So I think both of these are the ones I really like. I think the French toast crunch was maybe a bit more consistent, or it was the same sort of level that I enjoyed the whole time, versus this one. I like the bits where I had more caramel than cinnamon, so a little more inconsistent, but I think the peak would be a little higher than the consistency of the French toast crunch, just to sort of give you an idea of where I'm thinking about for this one. And then piece wise, like I mentioned, this is just your normal toast crunch piece, so I was a little worried going in, but I think I ate this quicker than I ate cinnamon toast crunch, so the soggification wasn't a huge issue for me. Like, I think the majority of this bowl I was still getting at least some crunch, so that worked out pretty okay, and I was a bit into that. And it makes me think maybe one day when I'm all caught up at everything, I should go back and give cinnamon toast crunch another shot when it's not sitting in the bowl for a longer period of time. Like, I feel like I was trying to do your average eat time for bowls early on, and now I'm doing closer to sort of just my average or a bit shorter average. So I don't know, maybe there's a chance that I just ate this quicker, or maybe they heard my complaints and made this piece a bit thicker. But either way, I think this piece is more solid than the cinnamon toast crunch piece. So what I'm gonna do is give Dulce de Leche toast crunch a C. I think it's an incredibly high C. Like, this is the fourth time that I've recorded this bit, I think, and I've said B half the time and C half the time. So there's probably a variant of this episode somewhere where I am giving it a B. But for now, I think this is a C. It peaks into that B range, and it has the X factors that I really appreciate of it's a bit more of a unique flavor, and the milk is really good. Like, I'm a big fan of the milk in this one, so that helps out a lot. But I think overall, it spends more time in the C range than in the B range. So I think even though it does temporarily sort of pass over that line, it comes back down and ends up being just a very high C. So this means it's the same rank as Cinnamon Toast Crunch, French Toast Crunch, and the Chocolate Churro Toast Crunch. And I think this is easily above Chocolate Churro and Original Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And like I already mentioned, it peaks above French Toast, but I think French Toast overall is a bit more consistent for what I want. So I think maybe if there'd been more caramel throughout and that had been more consistent, that alone I think could have easily put this above French Toast and probably would have solidified that B instead of just popping over for a second. But I think this definitely wasn't something I thought would be a solid cereal. Like, maybe it would be okay, but turned out it is almost great. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and in the comments below, post your general thoughts. Let me know if you've tried Dulce de Leche Toast Crunch and what you thought about it. If you, like me, thought it peaked really well, but just lacked the caramel consistency to really knock it out of the park, feel free to let me know. Or if you think I'm wrong and this is way lower than normal Cinnamon Toast Crunch and I've truly messed up the CTC family of rankings, you can let me know about that too. Or if you think since this did technically peak into that B range, it should be a B, you can let me know. I think I could be convinced fairly easily, and there's a chance as I have more bowls of this, I'll convince myself that it should be a B instead. But if you want to make that case, feel free to do so. But until next time, stay delicious.